Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing good. Hope everyone out there is doing well. Hope everyone is doing fantastic. And that you're all having a great day. Don't forget to follow me on social media. There are links right beneath the video in a little box that says description. Yeah, don't forget to follow me. Very big thank you to everyone who leaves a like on every single video. And without any further ado, everyone, let's jump right into it. We have had some interesting days as of late within the market. The anticipation shows no signs of slowing down, bit of a tongue twister, regarding where people expect prices to go. There are certain things happening now in the market and in the cryptocurrency space, and I think that people who are, and I would dare say, relatively newer to the space don't know how to deal with a lot of these events. That'll make sense very quickly. It's not as cryptic as it seems. The cryptocurrency market, as it stands right now, looks poised, if you will, to do exceptionally well into the coming years. That is to say, from the news that we've been getting for the last what have you. However, if something does happen and, people take it as negative news, it's not negative. A lot of times it's just simply what we've dealt with before. You'll see. And it's nothing bad, not even in the slightest. So we are currently in ETF land. September and October are meant to be the months that we have been hearing about since February, March, April. We're going to be the time where the SEC either says yes or no to altcoin, crypto, ETF staking applications. The SEC has a tendency, as they always have, to actually always delay the actual decision for the actual release of said ETF. Every single time, even when they were saying no to them, they were literally always delaying them. Even when they say yes to them, they always delay them in this way. However, I think anxiety right now is quite high, as a multitude of people within the cryptocurrency space are looking for really strong price gains. And also, to be fair, all the news we've been getting since the beginning of the year all revolved around September, October, or Q4, the end of the year. And where are we now? Right. So I assume a lot of this has to do with people being like, okay, we're here. I need everything to actually work out. This one is fine and probably will work out just as everything else has. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has announced that they will delay the final decisions on 2 XRP exchange-traded fund applications until late October. The problem, two problems. The problem here is that, we knew this, at least maybe just on this channel. Maybe I tried to be as logical as humanly possible. I told you all before, September and October were going to be the months where we heard the final decision. The SEC always delays applications until the very end. You need to understand that the SEC, while they claim to be independent, they, like many other everything in the world, are being controlled by rich people behind them. The companies BlackRock, The companies who file these applications for these coins, they have discussions with the SEC. While it may be nice to live in a fantasy world where regulators, regulate properly, no, what usually ends up happening is that these companies tell them like, hey, file this, cool. Paperwork goes through, and their other constituents and other companies see, okay, well, the deadline is in October. This gives us 5, 6, 7 months to be able to accumulate these coins at lower prices. Retail investors within the cryptocurrency space, should they not get some kind of immediately fantastic news, do you remember? People were expecting yeses for these applications from the SEC in April. And I was like, that would be cool, but, let's maybe wait a bit longer, because they never, ever say yes, initially ever. So whenever there was a delay announced, coins, not just XRP, coins prices drop. Because people are, okay, well, I guess it's not going to happen. And then if you just look back, it's like, oh, they always delay. It's always the exact same thing. People had a bit of a hard time with this one, and I chalk it up to a lot of people must be new here. Really. I think everyone in the space, if you've been here for longer than a cycle, you know how the SEC is. You know what always happens. You know what happens when we get this kind of news. It's relatively transparent how everything actually works within this space. But no, apparently people were having a hard time with this one, and because this is after the complete finalization of the end of the lawsuit between the SEC v. Ripple. And people were like, the lawsuit's over. They're definitely going to allow it through. You need to understand how money works. This has nothing to do with the SEC's decision. This has to do with companies and banks behind the scenes who want these coins as cheap as humanly possible. There's some kind of a really weird mysticism, I don't know, that people have where they keep forgetting that everything around them isn't about money. When we heard that BlackRock and Fidelity were getting into the space, there were so many news articles. This is a bold move by BlackRock. Fidelity getting into this. This is nearly crazy. How could? And I'm like, no, it's about money. They know that there's an opportunity to make billions, if not trillions of dollars. The core of all of this, I mean, stop it. If you were born in the States, we know what it's about. The core of it is always about money. So when these things do get pushed through, everyone can breathe a sigh of relief. But for some reason, everyone had a hard time with this one. Someone on Twitter called X Finance Bull, why not, shared the news on Twitter revealing that both 21 shares and coin shares now face extended waiting periods as regulators conduct additional analysis of their proposed crypto ETF. They know what the paperwork says. It's a copy and paste. If you haven't seen the actual forms, remember years ago I used to show them on the screen, here's the filing. If you've never seen it, they all look the same. They literally kind of write the name of the coin, who's going to be the custodian, they all look exactly like. There's no real reading of it, if you will. 21 shares faces a slightly earlier deadline of the 19th of October for its core XRP trust, which would trade on the CBOE BZX exchange. The SEC acknowledged the 21 shares ETF application in February, but delayed their application or decision in May. The decision to further delay this decision, was not received well by many community members. And this, as you might have imagined, was popularly unpopular news. I think really it's time to take a breather, guys. I understand there's I know that there's a lot at stake. I know. However, you got to pull it back. You have to take a breather. I told you before in another video, I have a friend, he used to check them, like the prices, the market. It was actually every 15 minutes. That's not a joke. He constantly phone out, and I told him one day, I said, you realize that you're not magical. You looking at prices isn't going to cause them to rise. You're also expecting a 5x. This is a while ago. You're also expecting a 5x in prices. If the market rises by 500% in 15 minutes, we need to leave the market immediately because there's something terribly wrong. Same exact thing. We are more than likely going to get the majority of these things passed, unless the SEC is full of liars and snakes and monsters. They told us before that the listing and decision process is going to be a lot easier. If they lied after this, me and you can sit here and scream at them as much as we want on the 1st of November. Until then, these are probably all going to get passed through. We're probably going to have and see the price predictions that we've been told for quite some time. Things are going to be A-okay. The anxiety is really high for, I see it. I see people talking online. I see the comments like, you gotta cool it. You really gotta calm down with the like negative energy and being sad. It'll be okay. So yes, the SEC has done the same exact thing that they have always done within this space. They said the decision process was far easier, more simplified. It'll be fine. We'll see what happens. I know we're here. September and October, we're meant to have, I think it's like 80 applications or something like that, potentially be approved. I'm expecting a third or half of them to go through. If we get one XRP ETF, prices will pop up into the sky. If we get 7 of the 20, cool. You made a lot of money. It's going to be okay. Okie dokie. Let's move on. Also in the interesting trend of companies from around the world with weird names announcing that they are getting into crypto. Japanese 3D housing manufacturer called LibWork, why not? You know, okay, has announced a $3.3 million Bitcoin treasury strategy, joining a growing wave of Tokyo-listed companies pivoting towards cryptocurrency holdings. We have, listen, years ago, we knew and heard that a lot of companies within Japan and South Korea were quite, keen to invest in crypto. I don't know what this thing is right now with a lot of Japanese companies entering the space. And then, oh, no, I get it. Their currencies like collapsing. If you weren't here before or simply haven't had any Japanese currency news, rare, right? It ain't doing too hot, like at all. Like their economy is slowing down. The population is rapidly aging. There's not enough money left. Their government is trying to print as much money as possible to devalue the currency to get more business to come to Japan. Japan also has very outdated tax structures. And as such, people with money tend to actually leave Japan quite quickly. If you haven't looked at what their inheritance tax is and how people are taxed in general, it's I'm sure you've heard all these things about like abandoned homes in Japan, and why would anyone leave, a fully functional, perfectly fine home abandoned? Look up their what happens when you try to gift something to someone or to give it to them after someone has passed. There's a reason why. So a lot of these companies have basically been announcing they don't care for the economy, for the country's economic what have yous. And for some reason, they're all like housing companies or like teeth companies. Really, that's also a thing. Cheese companies, hotel companies, and you know, I guess everyone can have their own company, but the things that they... Okay. The TSE Growth listed firm will acquire Bitcoin, here we go, between September and December of 2025 as a hedge against inflation and to prepare... There we go. And to prepare for future overseas business expansion. Yeah, Japan's not doing too hot at all. You know, what we see on TVs and movies and anime and all these other things, at the actual core of it, people are excessively overworked. Pay is actually quite low. People are usually quite shocked to hear that many people living in these tiny apartments in Tokyo paying $600-700 per month to sleep like a vampire standing up. Their pay is usually like $1,200 a month for like a full-time job. They make $1,200 a month. So yes, I guess it does indeed then make sense as to why we've been having so many Japanese companies recently announcing like, yeah, we need to so-and-so. The decision, and we have a number. We have a number, and it is actually a lot higher than I was expecting. So the number we had before months ago was 170. 170 was the number that we were quoted as to the amount of companies in the space who had started buying Bitcoin. The decision follows a trend among Japanese corporations embracing Bitcoin treasury strategies. Apparently, there are now over 289 companies. 289 companies now holding more than 3.67 million Bitcoin, worth approximately 418 billion US dollars globally. LibWorks cited inflationary pressures and risks of holding assets solely in cash deposits because the Japanese yen is bad. It's bad. 289 companies. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. I mean, it's also, 289 companies are holding 1/6 of all the Bitcoin. It might be even more than that, because remember the 4 to 6 million Bitcoin that are lost and gone forever. So, you know. Yeah, interesting. You know, surprise, surprise, right? More people buying a Bitcoin. Who could have ever imagined that? That was never a thing before. We haven't heard from 288 other companies. It was September, October, November, December. I'm going to say we'll get to like 400 to 450 companies by the time we end December. It just sounds about right. Yeah. I think that's going to do it for this video. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Make sure to relax, sit down, watch a movie, do something that takes the stress away, because everyone needs to cool it. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.